What's up my fellow Cobras, and welcome to my King of Fighters retro review, where I take a look back at one of my favourite fighting game franchises, which is a series of fighting games made by SNK that began way back in '94 with the release of the King of Fighters. As always guys, please don't forget to subscribe, give the video a like and hit the bell button so you never miss one of my latest videos. Street Fighter 2 revolutionized fighting games. But very few 2D fighters of the 1990s stood out from the crowd and fully realized the graphical and technical side of the genre. Street Fighter and other Capcom games were very popular titles everyone knew about, and Mortal Kombat wowed and shocked us with its insane bloody violence and fatalities. Meanwhile, SNK was quietly experimenting with the classic fighting game formula with Neo Geo arcade hits, Fatal Fury and Art of Fighting, which would eventually bring us the very long-running King of Fighters series that we know and love today. The name King of Fighters came from the fictional martial arts tournament held in the original Fatal Fury, the King of Fighters, which was created by former Street Fighter director Takashi Nishiyama, who wanted to make a spiritual successor to Capcom's original hit fighting game. The plot revolved around a Southtown crime boss and martial arts master named Geese Howard, who held the King of Fighters tournament. We were then introduced to the now well-known Terry Bogard, his brother Andy, and their good friend Joe Higashi, who all vowed to defeat Geese and his criminal empire. The original Fatal Fury was important in that not only did it showcase the graphical and technical power of the Neo Geo arcade cabinet at the time, but it would also introduce iconic mainstays like Terry Bogard, as well as demonstrate how the developers were willing to experiment with the fighting game formula. Unique to the Fatal Fury series was the use of a two-lane system where players could move between different planes of the stage to avoid their opponent's attacks or catch them by surprise. Another feature was an early tag team function where a second player could join not to fight the first player, but to assist them against a computer opponent. Even with these innovations, Fatal Fury did not go on to be as successful as its competitors Street Fighter 2 and Mortal Kombat. The first King of Fighters, released back in 1994, pioneered the 3-on-3 battles that would become a massive part of games like Marvel vs. Capcom and Dragon Ball FighterZ. The King of Fighters used many SNK characters from Fatal Fury, Art of Fighting and its other titles like Ikari Warriors and Psycho Soldier. But the series also had its own original set of characters with unique storylines, which would often revolve around their rival characters Kaio Kusanagi and Iori Yagami. The King of Fighters games would go on to receive annual sequels numbered by year of release, with perhaps the most well-received title being King of Fighters 98, which marked a turning point in the saga of Kaio and Iori's rivalry, and is one of my personal favourites. This numbered sequels continued until 2005 with the release of King of Fighters 11. But by then, unfortunately, the original company SNK had filed for bankruptcy. Fortunately though, the company is now back on track and is still going strong with the upcoming King of Fighters 15, which will be the first mainline game to be entirely in 3D. And it will also be using the brilliant Unreal Engine 4 for the first time. While they have always been well respected, the King of Fighters and other SNK games have always struggled with success when it came to international audiences. The franchise did achieve massive success in Latin American countries and South Asia, but the first game and its sequels failed to beat the likes of Juggernaut Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat in other Western markets like America and Europe. But SNK never gave up the fight and would even go on to collaborate with rival company Capcom with the brilliant Capcom vs SNK 1 and 2, which are two brilliant fighting games that I highly recommend you guys try out, and they really do still hold up well today. So after many painful setbacks and shake-ups throughout the company's history, SNK is now finally making a comeback with several new releases involving some of their most beloved franchises. These games included 2019's brilliant reboot of Samurai Showdown, the return of the King of Fighters titles, the quirky spin-off of SNK Heroines, and several decent mobile games, as well as a brand new Metal Slug game, which hopefully should release this year, and one that I am very much looking forward to. And as I mentioned before, with the soon to be released King of Fighters 15, which I think is going to be the best King of Fighters title to date, it shows that this legendary fighting game franchise is not done yet and still has a lot of fight left. As always guys, thank you so much for watching my retro review. Please don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button now if you enjoyed the review, and hit the bell button so you never miss my latest video. All the best guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.